Hi, kids. Maria West here. Welcome to Love, Truth, and Beauty, episode 282. And I have with me my good friend, Nathan Crabtree. Hi, Nathan. Good
Hi,
evening.
hi everybody. Hi, Maria.
Thanks for coming on the Zoom with me and for being super, super flexible. Things have been like really kind of wackadoodle with schedules and people flying in and flying out. And I hear it's a shit show at the airports where people are flying around, their flights are being canceled, they're not getting to make their connections. And so it's like this weird shit show at the airports. So
I personally boycotted the airports after those Free Your Mind conferences. So I went to Free Your Mind 3, 4, and 5, and I after that I just couldn't do the airport ever again because they would like stick their hands in my pants every time.
oh, for
So
fuck's sake.
yeah.
God. And that's where we met. We met at Free Your Mind. Which
Yeah,
one was it?
we do what?
Which Free Your Mind? This was in 2016.
I think it was Free Your Mind 4.
Yeah. So it was at 2016. And it was my first outing after my gutting. And Nathan was kind enough to come right up to me with my book and said he had read it. And I thought that was like one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, it was really nice to meet you. I didn't even expect to see you there, so it was just kind
Yeah.
of random, and I was like, "Hey, I kind of know that person." So
And that's like awesome. Yeah, that was really, really such a cool experience. And there were two other people that were there who also had my book, and it was strange. I mean, it was almost a surreal kind of experience for me, and nobody hit me, which was really good.
well, I guess it means you're in the right community if people are reading your book, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. So what are you up to, honey? What's going on?
Well, I have been really, really, really focused on healing and doing as much as I can to be the best version of myself. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Um, Nothing super out of the ordinary. Let me turn my mic down a second.
Yeah.
I Nothing super out of the ordinary. I do stay at my parents' house for now, and one thing I'm trying to do in life is manifest kind of a tribe of anarchists and truth tellers, people who could potentially move into a location, probably around here, that we could then work on things like food sovereignty, maybe have a healing community, different housing,
Wow.
yeah, an entire economy basically. So
Wow.
it's
That's impressive. That's impressive. I don't like people. It wouldn't work for me.
whatever. I mean, you don't have to live in the same building with them.
Yeah.
You could just be on one huge shared property or something, and they'd be your neighbors basically. But I don't know. There might be group community projects too.
Yeah. Well, and how's that going? I mean,
Oh,
do you have like a sort of game plan?
a little bit, yeah. So we've got a guy in the area who potentially could be coming up with large amounts of funding soon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of a money wizard. So he's also kind of a legal more or less expert compared to me. And
Mm-hmm.
what I would like to see is some kind of possibly legal group created that could be legally not under jurisdiction of US corporation, things like that, you know. I've been doing a little bit of legal research, not much, but
Yeah.
I do know there's people who are figuring out, at least as individuals, how to get off of U.S. corp jurisdiction and stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky. Really, really, really tricky. And I know a bunch of people have
I'm kind
endeavored.
of
What was that? You've kind of frozen up. Are you there? Hello? Uh-oh, the Zoom is striking again. Hi, love, are you there? We've lost you. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, the connection. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not sure if
just
that was
kind of
you or
you
me.
just kind of froze. My connection is super good here.
Okay. Yeah, usually I have a pretty good connection too, so that's kind of
Yeah,
strange.
yeah. But
What I
it's interesting because I was just telling you that I have a bunch of longtime friends and acquaintances who endeavored to do something very similar, and it turned into a very weird shit show of dysfunctional family tribal crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, we have another group that kind of has that going on, that I've heard of here.
yeah,
So, but still for me, even if something like that were to happen, I would still try. I would try once and then try again because personally, I don't know. I just like the idea of living in the country with friends who are smart, having resources, maybe doing something even bigger than that, maybe even just bigger than a small kind of handful of friend tribe, but everything's
mhm.
got to start small, of course. So
Yeah. Well,
another
and get
thing.
to know people too. And how do you vet people in terms of their responsibility, what it is that they know or versus what they don't know?
Well,
Um,
it'd be a process. You wouldn't want to jump into that, You
yeah,
wouldn't want to just be desperate and then be like inviting people you don't really know.
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So another thing I'm doing while doing just my daily routine is I have reached out to all the One Great workers, and I'm trying to kind of create more of an online also tribe as well, an online
Okay.
community that I feel like I at least have online friends and stuff,
Yeah.
because psychologically that would help me, but also I've been doing this podcast for like 5 years. And really, I just feel like I should have more exposure than I'm getting. I only have
Yeah.
I have 60 followers now on BitChute, but I don't know. I put a lot of work into it. I've had
I know you
setbacks.
have.
Yeah, I've had setbacks and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Why do you think that is? Because I know I'm on alternative platforms. I can barely get people to go there. They don't want to go there.
Well, YouTube blocks me. I tried to get on YouTube. They have canned me like twice now. They're looking at my accounts that I create with human eyes, and they're just blocking me for no reason now.
Wow,
So
that's really wacky.
it's strange because they allow all the funnel conference people. They allow you on there. Mark Passio's still on there. So they've targeted me on YouTube. Maybe I'm just too real or something. Jeff
I
Berwick's
don't know.
also.
You can't get any more. I mean, I'm pretty fucking real with my shit. So, but at the same time, I think also because I have people telling me now that they try to leave a comment, a legit comment, and YouTube says that their comment is against their community standards and won't let them
Mhm.
comment. But then I'll get porn bots.
Huh. Okay.
Like, what? Like, what's going on?
Well, YouTube is obviously an evil force. It's kind of like the Death Star because it's owned by Google, and I just consider Google, Walmart, and stuff. They're kind of like the Death Star off Star Wars. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's not that surprising, but it's a very alarming phenomenon that
Yeah.
you would
It's
have
frustrating.
a company that's got satellites all over the flying up in space everywhere, and so much resources and so much power and control, and be obviously completely corrupt and evil. Like it's I just see that as like, well, okay, so what are we going to do about that, as
Yeah.
humans? As
Yeah.
humans, what are we going to do about that? So
Well, one of the things that I've been doing, I've been applying a lot of advanced transurfing um, uh, tools and techniques, like hopping onto a pendulum that you don't like social media, like the boo tube, etc. Hopping onto that momentum and applying it in such a way where you are not pushing up against it, but you utilize that momentum and you kind of make it your bitch in a way where you're not irritating the matrix. You're
Mm-hmm.
not irritating the pendulum. The pendulum thinks that you're on board and you're just using its energy to catapult your stuff. So I've been experimenting with that. And also, like what you were saying earlier, moving forward and expressing the best version of yourself. And what I'm noticing more and more is that when I really check my thought quality and my emotional countenance, and I see people that I care about in my life, such as yourself, being their best version, and social media, me being able to utilize it in my best version and its best version, it's actually been kind of working for me, which is kind of weird. And so what I've noticed is the moment I start getting into that head spin of fuck this, and which is easy for me to do because I get overly frustrated with shit when it doesn't go right, and I'm sarcastic about it, and I think I'm being funny, but what I'm doing is I am twisting my thought in a way where I'm becoming my worst enemy by being that way. So I've been experimenting with catching myself and going, okay, let's see what happens when I do it this way. And I'm finding that the results are much better when I assume the best version of not just myself, but say Facebook or YouTube or the person that I'm going to talk to about getting my global entry for my passport and shit like that, and things have been like lining up where they flow, where if I'm in a bitch mode, it's a shit show. It's a major shit show, like fast. Have you noticed
That's
that?
interesting. I might have to try that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am using YouTube and TikTok in a positive way though,
Oh,
because
cool.
yeah, I have guitar accounts, so I
I
just do
know.
guitar.
I like those. I like what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and they don't really shadow ban me, and I seem to be getting views even though I don't have very many videos up. So I
Interesting.
yeah, I think if I could get famous for playing guitar well, I mean, internet famous, it's not like it used to be with the music industry, but if I could get internet famous for playing guitar, that'll drive people to my podcast.
Yeah.
So that's another approach there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly.
well,
Exactly. Well,
one
cool.
question I did, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One question I did have for you, Maria, that I
Yeah.
was curious about, and you might not want to share too much, but I was just curious about, like in your kind of personal reality transurfing like goals, if you
Yeah.
had any like slides or anything you were trying to manifest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I've been endeavoring to manifest is ease, grace, a really wonderful circle of friends and confidants, and up leveling not just my clients, but my students and my inner circle. So I have booted a lot of people out of my life. And so what I've done is really see the best version of myself. So I love that you opened up with that, because that is, and this is what I noticed since I've been focusing in on that even more. The people that I'm having conversations with, like you, are opening up with the same subject matter of being the best version of ourselves. Okay,
Well,
because we are aligned on that track. We're creating that relative reality. I mean, we create our own layer of our universe, and right now you and I, our universes, our layers are intersecting. And this video, when it comes out, it's going to be intersecting with everybody else who's going to be intersecting with us. And that's that online community. That's that synergy that I
exactly.
really like so much. And that has been like really, really gold. And one of the game changers for me is when I started really working with this, it was like a couple years ago. My new YouTube channel, I mean, I was like stuck on like 300 subscribers for like the longest ass time. And I was pumping them out 2 a week, plus my private practice, plus I teach, plus having a personal life, plus plus all the shit. I just was getting really frustrated. It's like, what do I got to do? And there were a couple of friends of mine who have relatively big followings. And Thomas Sheridan, I'm sorry, Thomas Sheridan, who is one of my, I adore this man. I love his content. He's based in Ireland. He shared a few of my videos, and boom, within a month, I think I gained a couple thousand subscribers like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was expecting for myself. I was thinking, at some point there would be a catalyst, and I was reaching out to the One Great Workers and stuff, and I mean yourself as well today, but
I didn't see that. Did you email me?
Yeah, I put your email that you had on onegreatworknetwork.com.
Oh.
Yeah, I put it on the mailing list. I don't know if it got to everyone, but some people, I've scheduled like about 4 people already.
Good.
So yeah,
good.
Yeah, it should help a lot because of the network effect and just being an isolated lone wolf even on the internet. It doesn't.
I feel you as a lone wolf.
Yeah.
So that was one of the game changers with Tomash, and then there was a woman in Australia who shared me with her women's network, and from there, I get all these women who are sick of fake feminism. They're sick of being angry at men. They're sick of being alone. They're sick of being pissed off, and they don't even know why they're pissed off. So it's like they're connecting with me, and they're going, fuck, man, where were you? Where were you like 10 years ago? I'm going, I was doing the same shit.
Why were they pissed off? Was it some pendulum like mind controlling them?
Well, it's that all men are assholes. And because I've had some really sketchy relationships or painful relationships with men or with women, whatever, fuck humanity, that kind of stuff. But see, that's the thing, is that attitude is not putting forth your best version of yourself. It is putting you in terms of your own self-talk. I'm a victim. Nobody likes me. I'm such a loser. Oh my God, what's it going to take? And I catch myself in that mode. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't even think that way. I mean, I just don't think that way. And you and I, we've had the conversation about transurfing and seeking the advantage, even with a shit show. I mean, there are reasons, like, I know I've had some like really hard face plants in my life. The latest one was in 2015, but you know what? I have that shit coming. When I look at it, it's like, girlfriend, I was like this. I was in everybody's face. I was, fuck the cabal, fuck this, fuck Satanists, fuck pedophiles, fuck the system, the shitsystems, and on and on. And you know how it goes. You keep pushing up against that shit, and it just comes after you.
Well, that's partly what led to my downfall. It wasn't entirely my fault, it was a co-creation, but
yes.
I was just.
Do you want to talk about that? Because
oh, totally, yeah.
Okay, because our last conversation was just before that happened. And I remember, you sort of dropped off the face of the earth, and I was I flipped my wig. I don't know if I told you this, but I was like contacting everybody that I thought we had in common. Like, where is he? What's happening? I get,
really?
And I was just like,
that's so nice, Maria, because I mean, you could have talked to me directly on my phone, I think, but
I tried to, and then your phone was like off for like months.
It was working for me. Strangely, it was working for me.
Oh man, I wonder if we got
okay. So I went to a recovery center for 2 months. It was last September and August, and then
Okay.
I got back in October.
Okay.
And I actually died. I actually physically died and was resuscitated in a hospital.
Oh
And
shit.
I was in an ICU for 10 days, and
Oh my God.
it was extreme amounts of pain. I had
Well, what happened? What were you in the ICU for?
I had a PTSD downward spiral that
Okay.
went on for about 5 months,
Wow.
and I wasn't sleeping pretty much at all. So the most amount of sleep I got was about 1 to 2 hours in one night, but typically 0 hours.
Oh my
So
God. Oh God, honey.
yeah, I
So
had a
sorry.
seizure. I had what's called a grand mal seizure. My
Mhm.
sodium levels dropped to like 0, and I seized out and died, and
Oh
then woke up.
God.
Yeah, and then I reincarnated back in my body in a fucking and I had all these things plugged up to me, and it was sad. I had a catheter, and they were
Oh my
stealing.
God. So
They were
what
like,
precipitated all of this? Was there a specific event? Was there
yeah. So I told you about last year. One of the last times I talked to you on the phone before this happened was, I was running through my neighborhood exercising
Yes.
with a rifle, and it was in the country, right? And everyone in my neighborhood likes guns. They are always shooting guns. So
Yeah.
I was like,
So what
well,
was the big deal?
the big deal is, and this is partly how I kind of created this a little bit. I was just getting more and more concerned, about the COVID and just totalitarian statism and stuff. And there's so many cops everywhere, and they're obviously they to me they're kind of like enemy combatants. They're part of a pendulum. They're doing their own thing. What I try to do is just like avoid all of that, just like
I hear
let
you.
them do their thing, try not to get in any trouble or anything. But at the time, I was having little fantasies sometimes of like shooting them or something. It's like running little simulations where like, well, what would I do if they invade my house? And what would I do if shit hits the fan and the power grid falls out and they're going around with the military? Then what would I do?
Yeah.
And it was just a mindset of like that the COVID was a giant red flag to me, and I was just like, well, at some point there could actually be a civil war, and I have this AK-47 rifle, and it's I needed a scope for it and whatnot, but I was like, I guess we should start militia training, right? I mean,
I hear you. I bought a kit. I didn't even know it was a felony.
a kit.
Yeah.
What kind of kit?
At a gun show
I
years
don't
and
even.
years and
What
years
does that
and years
mean?
and years
Like,
ago.
what does a kit
It
mean?
was a kit to build an AK-47.
Oh, okay. Well, that shouldn't be illegal, but
Apparently it
so
was.
I got a visit from the ATF and FBI, and the problem with that, there was no actual problem with what I did. They told me there was no actual problem.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they said I was fine. I'm not in trouble. They just wanted to make sure that I had jokingly kind of threatened Hillary Clinton on one of my podcasts. They were watching my podcast, and I was just kind of joking. I was like, "Hey, what politician should we put on our hit list?"
Oh,
Because
brother.
they're insane satanic pedophiles and whatnot. And I was like, so I mean, somebody should do something about Hillary Clinton. And it was a joke, and I was kind of obviously joking, laughing about it. But they were watching, and they were just visiting me, and they're like, "So, were you serious about your threats against Hillary Clinton?" I was like, "Well, no. I mean, I'm just a guy over here at a house. Like, you really think I'm gonna be able to do anything about that? But no, I'm not serious about that." And they were like, "Okay, well." They told me the police in Marshfield, where I was living, they told me they were afraid of me, and the judge over there was extremely angry at me. And
Wow.
they were like, you should cool off. Like, and I was like, yeah, I won't do that again. So what happened was I was exercising in my neighborhood with a rifle in the country where it's sparsely populated. well outside of city limits, and just having a good time, enjoying myself, getting some really good pump, you could say. On I do a lot of running, and I wasn't used to doing this. And one of the effects I noticed is that the weight of the rifle, and then I carried a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a physical upgrade. Like it'll upgrade you really fast.
Yeah.
And I've never had, super manly muscles or anything. And I was kind of excited about that. I was like, wow, I'll be jacked in no time. So
How
yeah, I did.
cool.
I did that once without a backpack, and then I did it a second time with a backpack. And a cop drove by, and he flicked his lights on. And here's where I really made the mistake is I was so anti-government that I just decided to leave this paperwork that I was required to have if I have a rifle with a suppressor.
Mm-hmm.
I intentionally didn't bring it with me because I was
Ah,
just like, I shouldn't have to have a piece of paper, and so it was a little bit dangerous in that regard. And I could have just brought the paper, and then he would have flicked his lights on. I would have stopped and been like, what do you want? And but instead I was like, okay, they're gonna take my rifle, they're gonna probably arrest me. I don't like the sound of getting arrested. I was it was just not it was something I had like kind of agreed with myself that I was
yeah.
never going to allow,
Yeah.
because they're creepy and you don't know what they're going to do with you once you get in there. It's like bad things could happen. they
Yeah.
could they could even like make you get like vaccinated or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. But like, so I ran instead. I actually ran away. I was like, fuck you, dude. And I was like, I just kept saying no. I was like, no, no. And then I was just kept running. And then he was like, tailing me. And he was like, they started to scream, drop your weapons and stuff. And then he called back up. And I just had this rifle in a big backpack full of ammo and other things, water and stuff, a machete. And I was like, nah, dude. And I was like running backwards at him. And I was like, no, I see you, but no, I'm gonna keep going. And they started to have more backup on the way, and they were getting kind of close to me. They had stayed back for a while. They were getting close, and I was able to get them to move back by being a little bit intimidating in a way. I never pointed the rifle at them
Yeah.
because I was just like, that's obviously a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to have any kind of fight with him. These simulations I ran in my head, sometimes they involved actually fighting with them. And then
Yeah.
when it came to reality where I was actually in that situation, I was like, that's probably not going to go well. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, let's just wake ourselves up, see reality here. Oh my
yeah. So
God.
anyway,
Wow.
I went up the hill, and then I hid in the woods and stuff. And then I slowly made my way back to my house. I never told them who I was. And they cooled off they were driving up and down the street, and they had highway patrol too, driving up and down the street for a while. But I got away. I waited for they cooled off, they left, I got away, and it was fine. And the FBI didn't even have a problem with it too. They were just like, hey, next time something like this might happen, you should probably stop, when the police stop you. And I was like, well, okay. I told him, I was like, I'm an anarchist. Is there any way like I could somehow we could fix this to where, the police aren't doing this? But they didn't have an opinion about that. So
Wow.
and then so it was fine. It was fine for about 2 weeks. I went on with my business, made a few videos. I was a little upset thinking about it. I was like, they could have just murdered me right there. And that's not really okay. And so it kind of emotionally like got me a little upset. Not very bad or anything. I wasn't really fucked up about it, honestly. I got away, but I was okay. And then I'm at my dad's house. I'm at my dad's house where I'm at now, and the FBI shows up, and him and my mom notice that there's some strange vehicle in their driveway, and there's two weird guys talking to me, and they're like, hey, who are those guys? And so me and the FBI come up and talk to them. And here's another mistake I made. I should have told the FBI not to tell my parents, because I knew if they found out, they would do something dumb. I knew they would do something dumb,
Oh
and
dear.
sure enough they did. I suspected they would go and start some kind of court case to do something dumb, that didn't need to be done. And yeah, sure enough, they in fact did that. But not only did they do that, the next day they wanted me to see a counselor and stuff, and I was like, well, okay, I mean, nothing wrong with that, I guess. So I went and saw a counselor, and then I was at their house, and they just didn't like my energy that day. They just didn't like it. They thought I was losing my mind a little bit. I don't know. Again, I was being myself, kind of making a video, almost making a joke out of the whole thing. You know, I'm not sure if I felt fine. I felt okay. But they were kind of convinced I was like batshit crazy and like having like bipolar or something. Because
Wow.
yeah, one of my my dad's dad had bipolar, and he was like, oh, this is familial bipolar, and we knew. So they actually kidnapped me. They actually lied to me and kidnapped me. Told me that my dad was having a heart attack, and
Holy
that
shit.
I need to ride with them to the hospital. And I was like, okay, well, I hope you don't die. So I was like, yeah, your mom needs help. We need to go to the hospital. I was like, okay. And then we get there, and my dad's talking to them and stuff, and then he goes back into their emergency unit, their emergency room, and then me and my mom go with him. And then he looks at the guy in the emergency room, and the guy was like, so what happened? And he was like, he was threatening people. And then
What
he
the
gets up,
fuck?
walks out of the emergency room, and then they lock me in there. And then they've
Oh
got
my
security.
God.
Yeah,
Holy
and then they've
shit.
got security with dogs and guns, and these guys, these ninjas with that no Krav Maga, and they're like, you ain't leaving, bud. And I was like, bro, I thought he was the patient. What are you talking about? I'm not leaving. And then they were saying I have to take drugs, and I have to get not a vaccination, but a COVID nose prod. I was like, no, fuck no, I'm not getting COVID nose prod. I researched COVID nose prods, and I was like, I heard they have nanotech on them and shit. I was like,
Oh
fuck
my
you, dude, I'm not doing
God.
that.
How
And they were like, no, it's not an
horrifying.
option, bud. You have to. And I was like, what do you mean I have to? No, I don't. Like, fuck you. And then I tried to run out. I tried to run past the armed guards and run out. And they tackled me, like 6 guys. They fucking tackled me,
Oh shit.
held me down, and violently penetrated my nose with a sharp metal object in a state of anger. So you can imagine how that kind of went. I had a little bit of a nosebleed. And then they were like, we're gonna send you up to the psych unit. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Wow. Your
Yeah,
parents
and
did this shit.
yeah, because I actually, my dad, he finally apologized over a year later, after I died. He finally was like, yeah, I knew it was wrong, but I intentionally did that to screw you up. Basically what he said. And so I was like, I didn't ask him why he did it. The whole time they kind of played this illusion almost that they were trying to help me.
Holy
But I was like,
moly.
how could you? What did you think was going to happen to you? Like, that's not a good. I tried to educate you for like 6 years about natural law. Like, you don't just kidnap someone who's not a threat. I wasn't threatening anyone. Is the truth? I was just like over there making a video.
Wow.
I was over there
Well,
acting a
under
little
the
bit.
guise of your dad having to go to emergency because he's
Yeah,
having heart issues. It's like,
yeah.
what the
It was a
fuck?
crime. It was an actual violent crime. There was a
Wow.
conspiracy of about 20 people that they pulled into this. They pulled in about the hospital order followers,
So this was
doctors.
actually not okay. So this was premeditated.
I don't know if it was or not. I think that I was maybe causing them alarm, with the FBI, and that they told them what I did, running with a gun, and one of their friends runs around with a gun. It's not like I'm the first person to do that. There's a guy that goes on hikes, yeah, downtown in this medium-sized city, and he's their friend. He's one of their partners, and he walks around with the gun, and he was like, yeah, it's normal.
Wow.
He a big rifle too. It's not that out of the ordinary, especially in Missouri. We have a very gun friendly, legislation in Missouri. So yeah, but it caused me so much PTSD. They
Oh
injected
my
me
God,
with
of course it did.
some weird drug that was a long-term drug. They were like, yeah, this is going to work for months. You're going to have to come back and get more. And they were making me take these pills every day. I actually spit a few of them out, but you know, it's hard to, some of those psych people, they're like, hey, I think you're cheating. You know, I was like, okay, I guess I'll take it this time.
I'm so sorry. I mean,
I think our connection died
I want
again.
to
Sorry.
cry. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Are you back?
Yeah, that's it. Something. I just did a Zoom meeting yesterday. And it was fine. 2 days ago, I guess it was fine. So I'm not sure what it is today. Something, but anyway, yeah. So
I'm so sorry. I
yeah,
am
after
so,
that,
so sorry.
my energy level dropped in 1 week from 100% to 40%. And that threw me off really bad because I was used to exercising, running like 7 miles at a time. And after getting out of there, I could only run 2.5 miles.
Well,
And
I
then
mean, they're pumping you full of weird shit. I mean, what kind of fucking drugs? Why were they giving you drugs?
that's just what they do,
Against
you
your
know? They just
will.
drug people like little lab rats,
That's
basically.
fucked up. That's
There might be
frightening to me. Wow, wow, wow. Gee, thanks, Mom, Dad. Wow.
Hey, I think there's one thing we can do about the connection real quick. I have a VPN on. I could try turning it off. It'll probably disconnect me, and then we could maybe start again. You know, I don't know if that's too much video editing for you, if we should just deal with it.
I don't video edit, honey.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
just
We'll just deal
don't.
with it. It's fine. So
I
anyway,
don't.
yeah. So what was I gonna say?
Wow.
I could not recover from that. I tried everything. I tried reality transferring. I tried trying to control my thoughts, but I couldn't sleep. I got no sleep at all for 5 months straight.
Well, that
You know,
would
I
make
was
you
I was
pretty fucking crazy right there.
I was
No
actually
sleep.
pacing back and forth for hours and hours on end, like with this ridiculous anxiety. So it was full on complex. I don't know if it's complex PTSD, but it was full on PTSD. You know, my energy levels just slowly dropped from 35% all the way to like 1%
Wow.
or less than 1%. And I couldn't
Wow.
run at all. I couldn't. And so my body started to get all toxified. I had this binge eating problem. I think I got some kind of blood clot in my heart or something from binge eating for months on end. And, you know, I was just completely like out of control, PTSD downward spiral. And I felt such terrible emotions, so bad, like I had been stabbed in the heart and I was dying is how I felt. And then I had all this
You kind of
fear.
were stabbed in the heart. You were thrown under the bus, betrayed, set up by your parents. Basically.
Yeah, they took legal custody of me. They took away my gun rights. You know, so I'm trying to work on getting that back and stuff, you know, but I was doomed, man. I was like, I'm going to lose my house. I don't know what to do. I'm going to die. You know, I had a partner. And it was causing her to have a terrible summer too, because I was clearly, there was something wrong and I was not getting any better. And it went on all the way till the end of the summer. And then I had this seizure and it literally physically died and they had to call an ambulance. And then I was in the hospital again and they were stealing my blood every day. And they were like, no, you have to give us blood. And I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, am I going to die? I was expecting to actually die. When I woke up in there one day, I was like, I'm not going to make it, dude. I'm so fucked up. I'm about to reincarnate in a bad situation because I apparently caused myself. I caused a bunch of bad karma. You know, I was like, I'm about to die. My whole family's going to be sad. My partner is going to be sad. Her family is going to be sad. They're all going to possibly die from just grief. And then there's a cascade of deaths. I'm going to reincarnate in a terrible situation with bad parents, probably get lost in hell forever and never make it back to freedom or anything good ever again.
Wow.
Is kind of where I was. So luckily I didn't die a second time. You know, but I was not barely able to walk, had tremendous pain in my heart,
Wow.
back pain. You know, I was in this terrible ICU where it just smelled like diarrhea and stuff, and like
Ugh.
the bed smelled like diarrhea, and you know they had all these alarms going off constantly, and all these people on these loudspeakers saying like code red.
It
And
sounds like a torture chamber.
oh, I was tortured all summer, but it started with me being tortured in that pharmaceutical torture chamber. So
I'm
that,
so sorry.
yeah.
I'm just horrified. I'm
So
horrified. This
I
is
lost my
happening.
house. I lost my house. I lost $150,000. My health was very negatively affected, which is why I'm, you know, trying to focus on healing and stuff. I've been doing really well though. You know, since getting back, I had one problem with internet porn addiction over the winter, and you know that fucked me up really bad too. Like my genitals were hurting, and I was still fucking going for it. And
Wow. Do you think
yeah,
a lot of this was a residue of like, just all the drugs, the weird drugs and shit that was pumped into you and the torture?
I don't know. It was possible. They were trying to force me on drugs, and I was like, I don't want drugs. After I got out, they were trying to make me take drugs for the rest of my life. I was like, no. It's like, please don't. And you know, and they were like, you have to. There's a court case. We have to prove that you took the drugs. And it was a fight. It was a fight with me and my parents. And I was like, it went on for weeks, completely stressing me out even more. And it was the, like I said, the PTSD that killed me. So
Wow. What
yeah.
was the turnaround? What was the turnaround?
The turnaround was dying.
Okay. Like
Slowly my
like
health
a reset when you died?
Yeah, it was a reset. Yeah, it totally was. But I was started at zero. I could barely breathe. They had some kind of breath tester thing, you know, and I had fluid in my lungs. You know, it was, I was like, I'm never going to recover from this.
Wow.
You know, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I was like, I don't know if I'll make it through this month. But, you know, they took me to some recovery center, and I didn't really like the sound of that, but they were like, no, we can't deal with this. So they took me to some recovery center in Utah. I thought I was going to die on the way there. You know, I actually fell trying to get out of bed at night. I didn't tell anyone that, but I actually fell, you know. But I know how to do what's called break falls. It's like a martial arts thing.
Yeah, me too.
I did a roll.
What you do. You learn how to take a punch, a kick, and break a fall.
Yeah, I did a roll. It was fine. You know, but I don't know. I wasn't in the condition to be doing break falls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, they got me into this recovery center, and I was like, well, this sucks. You know, this is bad. I can barely walk. My back even started to give out a little bit. My lower back, to where I thought I was going to be like paralyzed or something, and like slowly my health started to come back. It started to. I was really sore. I still kind of have a little bit of soreness right here. You know, my heart is still a little bit sore physically. So I don't know what happened to my heart. They didn't really say anything specific, if anything happened or not, but it's still a little sore. So, you know, I'm trying to just focus on quantum healing and basically, and like aligning my path to, you know, miraculous healing is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, seeing yourself, your best version, which includes thriving, which includes feeling fulfilled, which includes being healthy and having vibrant energy.
I'm doing a lot better. I got a lot of sun this summer, a whole lot. And I'm using this supplement. It's called astaxanthin. It's a red sea algae. It allows you to get way more sun than a normal person. So I was getting, you know, hours a day, like multiple days in a row in the middle of the day. So
cool.
Yeah, I've got a nice color. Today I went running with some 8-pound weights, you know, so I started carrying the weights when I run and stuff. And, you know, I'm still broke. I lost pretty much all my money, you know, with the crypto crash. I was going to put that money on my mortgage and be free and not have to even pay mortgage anymore. That was what I was going to do, but I lost my house.
Yeah.
They sold all of my house and everything. And so now I'm stuck in my parents' house.
Wait, who's they?
My
Who's
parents, my parents, because I couldn't take care of the house. That was one of the PTSD problems, is I was busy pacing around with anxiety for 8 hours a day. I couldn't mow the lawn. I couldn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
And it started to look like a ghost house by the end of the summer. It started to look like a ghost house. I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't fucking deal with any of this. And they were like, well, we'll just sell it. My girlfriend, she kind of moved on this summer, so she's it's not really anyone's business, but she's kind of gone, I guess. I mean, we're still friends. I still see her. It's not really that different. Like I'm polyamorous. I'm an anarchist. I'm not really a type of person who gets attached to other people, but it was disappointing for her because we spent a lot of time moving to that house, and moving's kind of stressful for her. And we had it all set up, and we were enjoying ourselves, all comfortable. And we had only been there for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I think it was a year and a half. And then that happens. And then now we're back in Springfield, where we had just moved from. And here I am in Springfield. I'm like, well, I don't really like the city, I guess. I don't know. I'm just making the best of it, honestly. I don't even care that much. I was literally in an ICU. So, like, being in Springfield is not that bad when you have that perspective.
Yeah. Exactly. Nobody's pumping me full of weird drugs that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, they had the IV thing with some strange. I had no idea these machines existed. They had this green snot tube that I thought was just, I was sick. I thought I was sick, and I had this giant booger that went into something. But no, it's a feeding tube is what they had to me. Jesus. Because I had multiple seizures and stuff.
Holy
it's a miracle I'm not retarded after all that. Having my sodium levels drop and then having all these seizures. Like some people, if that were to happen, they'd probably end up retarded. So
wow, what a harrowing experience, Nathan.
Yeah.
and your parents. I mean, so where are they with all of this situation that I mean?
Well, for a long time, they were blaming the whole thing on me and saying it was all my fault. And it just didn't feel right to me. I was the whole summer I was telling him, I was like, you fucked my life up. You just destroyed everything. I'm literally, I can't exercise anymore. I have terrible anxiety. Everything's going bad. We had a business set up, a hemp farm. It was a legal hemp farm, and we were making all these supplements, and all that's gone, So. They finally did admit that they actually intentionally did something wrong. Then they knew it was wrong, and then they knew it was going to screw me up. I was like, well, then why did you do that?
I know. What was the purpose of that?
I don't know exactly, because they didn't even ask anyone in my life if I was okay. They could have just asked my girlfriend. It would be like, hey, is Nathan okay? And they didn't really even talk to me about it either. They were just staring at me like suspiciously. And I was making a video, actually having fun, enjoying myself, making a video. They thought I was acting crazy, but it was a little bit of an act, man. I was just kind of making an interesting video because I don't know, I felt like it. And so they're just looking at me, and then they lied, and then we were off to the hospital. So
wow.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm just flabbergasted. I am aghast. Yeah, I'm fucking aghast. Like, what the fuck?
Well, one positive side of this is coming out where I'm at now. I would have never been this focused on healing if this wouldn't have happened.
There's the advantage.
So that's one advantage. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll actually develop some kind of like quantum healing gift or something out of the whole thing. That would be cool.
Yeah.
So I would take that, but I'm trying to just heal myself first, trying to just get myself into the best condition possible.
Yeah.
I think
What kind of stuff are you doing? What kind of stuff are you doing?
Well, there's certain herbs and supplements you can take, a little cannabis, different things like that. But also the exercise it's all about the thoughts primarily. And your subconscious can run your life, right? And you have to be very conscious of every thought that you choose, and not, if you notice there's thoughts that are negative, and especially if you have negative emotions, the emotions are kind of like a barometer for how your life is going.
Yeah,
right.
Good. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
So,
Astute.
you know,
That's to the point.
and I've been feeling really well. And with reality transurfing, one of the secrets of it is that you might think certain things are impossible. And if you think certain things are impossible, then you actually are dragged into that parallel set of timelines.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
You have to
mhm.
assume whatever it is that you intend through your best
So I'm not going to
version.
limit myself. I'm not going to
Good.
say, oh, this will never recover. My heart's
Fantastic.
permanently damaged and stuff like that. You know, I'm just like, I'm back on a good path. You know, I feel good about myself now. I feel like my pain is going away. Right.
Awesome.
You know, I'm just doing it. And other things can come into your life to assist you if you align to a
Yes.
healing path or a
Yes.
path of freedom or something.
The universe handles
medicine
a lot of details.
some medicine person could come in next to you and be like, hey, have you tried this? And this is how reality transurfing works.
Yeah.
But if you're not aligned on healing, you know, you're never going to meet the medicine person.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very
stuff like that.
Very good. So. I know. I love that about just being able to be in a power position to choose what it is that you think, to notice where the sort of gremlins, that inner critic. I just did a video on the inner critic in complex PTSD, and
yeah, I need to watch that one. You sent
that's
that one
that's a really intense one. I cried a lot as I was writing it, and really just getting the bullet point stuff that I wanted to really talk about, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, this is the majority of why humanity's fucking enslaved, because they believe in slavery. They believe in the whole thing, that it's not possible, that they
exactly
can't.
And that keeps them trapped in it forever.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's totally possible. It's actually much easier, is what I tell people, to not be enslaved. It's actually way easier.
Yeah.
And
but you have to take responsibility for your thought quality, your emotional countenance. And when you catch yourself thinking fucked up, shitty thoughts about yourself or other people, you got to catch yourself and you have to correct it. You have to.
And there's a lot of pendulums that will try to convince you that either certain things must be a certain way or certain things are impossible.
Yeah.
Like the science pendulum, for example. Will tell you all kinds of things are impossible. Everything's impossible for this and that reason. You can't quantum heal. You can't, you can't get 4 hours of sunlight in one day as a white person. You'd burn. I was like, well, clearly nobody knows how to do it, because I figured it out. I was like, damn, I didn't. Science would say this is impossible, but here I am doing it. So
yeah, the science. Oh God. Oh. Yeah, float me into a coma. I mean, I have a lot of atheist friends who don't believe in God, but they are advocates and addicts, and they're devotees of the Church of Scientism, and the science. I just sit there and I have to I got to catch myself, because I can easily go into that place of a lot of judgment. And I just go, just see them as their best selves. See them as their best selves.
I hope that helps a lot. But you got to be honest too, and just be like, there's a lot of lies. There's a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't need to resonate with that. You guys can keep believing in in science or whatever. You believe in science, I'll do this instead. Yeah. And we'll see how it turns out. Maybe for you, believing in science is the right thing to do. You might be happy with that.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's even wrong. I'm just saying but it's just not what I'm doing.
Yeah. So. Just don't shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, one thing that really helped, Maria, so I had that masturbation problem, and I basically, after that event happened, I lost completely all ability to use kind of like discipline or control, right? In the way that I had been doing up until that point, a little bit. In society, we are born, and then our parents are like, you have to be this way. Right. You have to be this way. Go to school, get good grades. And it's very few people, I feel like, actually want to do any of this, but they feel like they have to. And so it creates this mental burden, and it creates this inability to manifest properly. And then it burns you out over time. And you're using some kind of willpower discipline thing.
You use it. It's really the school of hard knocks, because when you want to go from point A to point B in the least amount of time, in the least amount of moves, what's the trick to that? It's not a trick. It's assuming. It's the law of assumption. That's it. So it's the corrective thought, aligning your thoughts, aligning your emotions, your feelings, and aligning your actions and your inactions. That is Xing out the shit you don't need to be wasting time and energy doing that isn't going to propel you. And
your heart will tell you if you should be doing something. It'd be like, maybe, if your heart feels bad, like mine used to when I was going through school, I was like just sad all the time. I was like, this sucks. There's no girls. I suck. I'm unconfident. Girls hate me. I don't like school, but everyone tells me I have to. And it was just sad. It was really, really sad for a long time. So I started to kind of snap out of that. Listening to Mark Passio definitely helped. I stopped masturbating when I was like 24 or 25. I really should have just never started, but people don't really know. I think the previous generation, they didn't have internet porn, so they didn't really warn you.
Yeah.
So that really screwed me up and screwed up my confidence for a long time. But what I was saying though is like, so I completely lost after all my entire world burned to the ground. And as it was burning, I completely lost all ability to have any kind of discipline. And I still don't have that ability. And it's actually, I feel much better about it. So I don't ever do anything difficult or hard. I just do whatever I want to do. And then I also do things that are good. And
good.
I was having a little bit of problems with this maybe over the winter, because I was masturbating, and addicted. Clearly had some kind of dopamine addiction, and I don't know. I had to go through that, I guess.
Well, do you think maybe you were just trying to come into balance? I mean, no pun intended, but
I was sad because I lost all my house, and like my heart was in pain every day. I was and I was just tempted. I was susceptible to falling for that. And then because of the sadness, I was like, normally I would be really, really disciplined about that and just be able to go for a whole year without that happening. But anyway, it kept happening, and it beat me. I realized it was like, I can't control this. Instead, I've got to take a different approach. Instead, I've got to control the thoughts, and then allow it to fix itself over time. And that's kind of what happened.
How did you do that? Like, what was your, like, was it a thought process, an emotional process?
So here's something I did. Okay. So, I had genital pain, right?
Okay.
It felt like my genitals got shot off with a laser gun or something, because
was it just because too much friction?
It was the internet porn's toxic. It's some kind of strange technology that's a direct attack on your shackle.
Number one, because it siphons off your creative energy.
But it'll make it to where you have to have an orgasm because you're watching something that's sexually stimulating, and therefore your body's not ready for that. Your body could go a whole month or two without that.
Well, it's soul sucking, basically, creativity sucking.
Yeah, so it'll destroy you. But I was falling for it enough times to where I was like, I don't know if my genitals are ever going to recover, or if I'm just going to be sterile, because they hurt. So it was something constant. Like they hurt for months, actually. 2 or 3 months they were still hurting. And every time I felt that pain and noticed it, and it was kind of intense, and I felt it all day. Every time that was like a trigger, and I put a trigger in my mind where that pain causes me to think the thoughts healing every time. So I was just like repeating the word healing for hours and hours and hours on end.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would still try to go running, it would attack your energy level. But I would still try. And whenever I would work into a little bit of a sweat, that rhythm of healing and the other manifestation words, healing, freedom, success, positivity, I would just start repeating them for hours and hours and hours, and
Cool.
I'd take a little cannabis, and that would cause me to be really sensitive, and I really feel the pain,
Okay.
and it'd be like, this really hurts. And then I would
Oh,
think the
okay.
word pleasure, 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 healing, healing. So that's what I did, and it started to reprogram my subconscious. It
Cool.
started to reprogram it, and then it pulled me out of that. And I had a few relapses, which would bring all the pain back immediately. Whenever I did this in high school, it wasn't really painful. I did it every day, and it wasn't painful. So something
Now,
changed.
This is something in my head it's something entirely different. Like there was an actual energetic, like purposeful siphoning off of your creativity and your life force through this.
Well, everything else in my life died, so I guess that had to die too, because I didn't fall for that at all in the summer. And going through the recovery center, I was fine. I had a very good sexual discipline up until that point, but it was just the last thing that died in my life. And I was like, I was like, how long does it take to gonna recover from this? A couple of years, but I'm doing my best. So I take this supplement. It's called pine pollen. You can get 99% cracked cell wall pine pollen, and it's magic. It's great. It's awesome. Definitely try it out. I get these bags. They're on eBay is where I get them. I tried a brand on Amazon. It wasn't any good. Okay. I would stay away from micro ingredients brand. And then there was this other one. It was like Inca brand or some kind of Spanish sounding brand. But the Inca one, it was actually diluted. They actually cut it with something. It wasn't even pure pine pollen. So I get it off eBay. I can send you a brand if you want.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me the benefits of pine pollen.
Well, you can be considered pure squirt orgasm in energy. Okay. Nice. So that's what it does. I am
hip to that.
Yeah, who doesn't want that, right? So it'll bring very pleasurable.
You ladies out there, I'm telling you.
It'll bring very pleasurable feelings to that area. For men, I think it'll just make you produce more sperm, but it feels like an energy that directly goes into the genitals and makes them like release squirt.
So it's probably really, would you say it's rejuvenating?
Yeah, I just think it's going to help me get my energy. It's supposed to be good for testosterone. It's supposed to be it definitely makes you kind of horny a little bit. But what I would say about it is the first time I tried it, the squirt effect happened after like just one spoonful of it. Over time, I got a tolerance to it. So now I'll take like 5 or 6 spoonfuls in a day. So maybe even almost half the bag.
Do you put it in water? Do you?
It doesn't dissolve in water, so I just throw it in my mouth and then rinse it down. That's what I do. You can put it in a smoothie though.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely try it out. If you don't notice the squirt effect, then just take more. It can't really hurt you. In my experience, it's never caused me anything that would make me think it's hurting me.
My hormonal stuff. I don't know if I told you. So here's an interesting thing. Okay, y'all, you heard it here. So I've been in this beautiful partnership relationship now over 2 years, and I waited almost 10 years for this person, like being nothing going on, nothing. And, just the whole thing of rising to love, rising in love, not falling in love, rising in love, that whole thing. And being with this, just this exemplary human being who's kind, gentle, generous, and we have a lot of like really, truly real chemistry. And he's not an asshole, just balancing his masculine and feminine, the whole 9 yards. And I had, when we first started going out, spent a lot of time, and we still do, where I've never spooned with another human being other than my stepkids. You know what I mean? When they were little. And I was always working 3 jobs when the times I was married and stuff. So, I'm not going to be laying on a couch watching the boob tube. First of all, I didn't have a boob tube. So my point is all these hormones that I've gotten hit with, the love hormones, I mean, all of that has like changed so much of my body. And I'm going to be 63 next month, and it's just one of those things because the women who are postmenopausal, my age, are always complaining about low sex drive, dryness, vaginal atrophy, that kind of thing. Oh no, we got no problems over here. I mean, it's just been kind of like this delightful, like, how does that happen? And it does have a lot to do with love. And I think also it has a lot to do with me as a woman purifying all my sex abuse, getting into the correct mindset and emotional countenance of lining up that heart, mind, body, soul coordination and allowing that to happen. So I'm actually looking forward to the pine pollen to see what happens.
Yeah, try it out. If you don't feel anything, just keep taking it.
Okay.
Just keep, you might have to eat half the bag. They're only like $25 bags. They're only like $25 bags. It's not expensive or anything. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to that. But
Cool.
yeah, watch out for pendulums too, people. Like the science pendulum again will tell you that your lifespan is this long.
Yes.
After 40, this happens. In your 20s, this happens. And in your 30s, this happens. 40, 50, 60.
Yes.
But by the time you're 50, then you're menopausal and dried up and it's no fun anymore. And you have to be sad.
Here's the thing about that is that my period started again.
Oh, wow.
And this is very strange because my period stopped when I was 31. It's like the universe is like going, no, you're with the wrong people, honey. You're too busy. And it was right around that time my private practice was just like, it was starting to like really, really, really go crazy. And so I've had to do a lot of purification just based on my own programming, based on my own trauma and my own sex abuse and all of that. And, just saving up the life force through really focusing in on just not creativity, but my work. And going into these long, long time periods of celibacy on purpose. I had to draw the line. It's like, how much fucking can we do here? It's like, I got other things that I want to do. And so for me as a woman and as women we are this receptive principle in physicality. So I'm
really happy for you.
Yeah. So anyways, but here's the thing. So I'm looking online. So the science, it says, okay, if you've been postmenopausal, blah, blah, and you start to bleed, blah, 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 you've got cancer, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's this whole fucked up cascade of all this kind of stuff. And here's a funny thing. So I'm on this Zoom call. I saw this Facebook group about, and I can't remember their name, but it's perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal women, and they've got this new kind of lube and these new kind of bioidentical hormones, da 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 da. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this call and I'm going to share my experience, blah blah. And this woman who is leading the call, who is an MD gynecologist, you should have heard her. She starts on the chat going, we need to tell this woman, me, that you need to immediately check yourself into a hospital and ER. Blah. I mean, I'm going.
Dude, it's sorcery.
I'm so sorry. It's total sorcery. And I'm seeing these women who are, 10 years younger than me, a little bit older than me. I mean, these women look like hags. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. First of all, I'm not on drugs. I don't do pharmaceuticals. I'm not in the medical system. I do everything: acupuncture, homeopathy, Ayurveda. I haven't had the flu since 1994. So fuck off. It was so weird. And people in the chat, would you let her speak? She muted me. She
Oh,
wouldn't
geez,
let me
God.
fucking speak.
She's threatened by you.
I was just cracking up. I was cracking up, and they're going, you shouldn't be bleeding, blah, blah. So it turns out, because I've got a naturopath, and get a blood test. I don't do blood tests. I do circadian rhythm saliva tests, because they will actually test the accuracy of your hormones that are actually bioavailable, not the blood serum. The blood serum doesn't tell you shit. So anyways, turns out, wow, I'm ovulating. Is that interesting?
Yeah, that's
Isn't
very
that
interesting.
crazy?
Scientifically impossible.
Yeah, supposedly scientifically impossible. So I'm just like, you know what? Whatever.
Good for
It's
you.
ridiculous. Thank you.
I'm really happy that's going well for you, because it can actually make life better,
It's made my life, like, he is a superior man. I don't know what else to say. And and we're working through a lot of stuff, just in terms of, we're both avoidant. We both have similar relationship woundings. We were both betrayed, cheated on, lied to, blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And we like to do our own thing. Like, I've always been accused of being very guy-like, where I can't be with somebody 24/7. That shit makes me anxious. And it's not that I'm intimacy avoidant. No, I'm not. But, in order to write and to create videos, create content, do the work that I do, I need space. I need space. I have my own house.
Yep.
It's paid.
That's what I would prefer.
Yeah. But we love to be together. We cook a lot of food together, and man, I tell you, it is just the best thing. It's cool.
I'm really, really happy for you, Maria. It's great for the world to have more love in it. So
Yes.
the fact that something's making you that happy and have fun again, it's just it's just good. It should make people feel good in their heart hearing that.
Yeah, so. It really, really, really does. So that's one of the things that I'm like really focusing in on, in terms of my own self-talk, because I work with so many people all over the world who are, they're still winding those stories about these fucked up toxic relationships. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. But it's like this. No, people, you have to really see yourself thriving, feel yourself thriving, think yourself thriving, see yourself as the best version of yourself, and see your potential partner as the best version of yourself.
Well, the hard thing about reality transurfing is that you're born into this world, possibly dependent on what happened before you were born, which might be hard to get in tune with. But people don't teach this. Yeah. And therefore, like you're saying in your podcast, you can get lost in the matrix.
Yeah.
You can get lost in the manifested world, and it can create these feedback loops where you're looking at shit, therefore you're shit.
Yeah.
And there's no possibility for change.
Yeah.
And then it just drags you right down a downward spiral, and things get more shitty, and you can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And so people get lost, and they're literally lost in space. Yeah. And it would be helpful, I feel like, to try to help people. I mean, that's what I do.
I mean, that's what I do, basically. And and the people who work with me, I mean, they know I'm very kind. I'm very, very gentle. But people who work with me, you get to tell your story once or twice at the most, and then we work on redoing it and just knocking out all those thoughts, and utilizing all the thoughts, the bad feelings, the PTSD. Like I say, utilizing your pains, traumas, suffering, and dramas as gateways to wake up and own your attention and correct that thinking, correct those feelings. I mean, am I an expert at it? Some days I am, and then there are other days where I just, I fall down the cracks, and I
I think
gotta,
you can always get better at everything.
yes.
So, I one of the arrogant things that I was doing before that thing happened to me last year, I was actually on a podcast with Mario West. I looked back at it, and I had said in the podcast that I had mastered reality transurfing, and then all that happened.
Oh, I remember that. Hey, but one of the things that you can do with that, just for the sake of posterity, is that you were actually perhaps intending that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help me in the long
self.
run. Maybe it'll help me in the long run,
Well,
I was trying to go to freedom, and maybe that had to happen to just shake up my life, get me out of that house. Maybe I need to go hook up with some tribe or something,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so your vision has gotten more expansive and more inclusive.
I would say I'm less afraid of death now. I was trying to tell myself that I wasn't afraid of death, and sure enough, I wasn't. When the police were pointing guns at me and screaming at night to drop my weapon, I was like, felt exactly no fear. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's what happened. So I feel a little less afraid of death because I've already died, and if I could die and then come back, I don't know. It's like it hurt really bad. My body was injured. Now I'm learning how to heal myself, and that's just good on its own, right? I wouldn't have had any reason to learn how to heal myself. So.
That's totally awesome. I love it. I love it.
Another thing you said that I had a thought about, you mentioned this woman who was giving her worldview on to everyone listening to her, right? What you want to watch out for, and this is a good example of reality transurfing, you want to watch out for the witch doctor pendulum, is what I call it. And basically what I'm referring to is someone claiming to be a doctor who is telling you these things that if you believe the doctor, and they might have all kinds of cool evidence, they might have a chart, they might take a sample of your blood and then put a microscope on it and say, hey, you've got all these problems. Look at that. That's a piece of metal in your blood. You need to do something about that. You're really sick. They might feel your lymph nodes, be like, your lymph nodes are too big. You're really sick. This happened to me. I went to a Native American medicine guy, and he was just trying to tell me that I was extremely sick and I need to be on all of his herbs, and I need to stop everything I'm doing. Every supplement I'm taking is bad. I need to be just on 3 or 4 of the herbs that he chooses. And he might not even be intentionally doing this, but he actually looked way sicker than me. I get a lot of sun and run a lot. And I was like, bro, you're kind of overweight. What are you doing telling me I'm sick? But anyway, I kind of believed him. For a few days.
Yeah.
And the fact that he put that fear in me actually made me start mucus coming out. And I started to feel like, oh shit, maybe I am sick. Maybe my lymph nodes are too big.
The power of suggestion?
Or
maybe you were just detoxing his bullshit.
No, I started to believe him, and I started to get sick. And that went on for maybe 3 or 4 days. And then I was like, man, that guy just tried to put fear in me. And then I was like, nah, I'm not sick. And then I almost immediately got better. So,
right on.
Yeah. And medical doctors will do this too. They'll say, hey, you have cancer. You're going to die in 3 months. You need to pay us millions of dollars. And it's like they're a part of a pendulum, is the truth. They might not even be consciously trying to manipulate you, but they're being programmed.
Well, they're following the script of what they think they know. And it's automated. And everybody that comes in front of them is going to get bombarded by that script. One size fits all.
So many people don't actually have true knowledge. They actually are not scientists. They are claiming that they know science.
Yeah.
But the word science itself, sciare in Latin, it actually means to know.
Yes.
And the entire point of the scientific method is for you to discover the truth yourself.
Yes.
Using methods where you're repeating other people's research with instruments and tools. And how many people in reality are saying the science says, and I've done exactly no science, and it's not science is the truth. They don't actually know. They never verified. I don't know that there's some galaxy out in space. I don't have a telescope. I'm not I can't just say the science says there's a galaxy over there and there's aliens that live there, because I can't verify that. That's not science for me. For someone else, maybe it is. For someone else, maybe it's science. For me, it's not science because I don't know that.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. It can be empowering though, because then you don't have to believe scientists telling you about corona. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. You're still on YouTube. They might. I'm hoping they won't take down this video. I don't think they will.
CV19. CV19. 19 is 19 auf Deutsch. In German, CV19. That's what I say. Whatever. Like, I still am blown away that people are still wearing masks on Zoom calls. Like,
on Zoom
seriously,
calls? No,
what the fucking fuck is going on there?
Really? On Zoom calls?
It's laughable. Like,
oh my
dudes, are you serious? And I tell you, and I say this every single time, I know I'm repeating myself. I want to raise my hand. It takes all my energy to see them as their best selves, that they just get the shit together and get healthy and stop that stuff, that they're not at risk. Oh my God, that we are healthy, wealthy, wise, our best versions of ourselves. Because I want to raise my hand and go, excuse me, why the fuck are you wearing a mask on a Zoom call? I want to know. I want to know.
They're just that much of cult members, you know.
That is just
the doctor told them that viruses can actually go through the microphone and out your computer screen. So you need a mask, even if you're just on a Zoom call.
With the 5G, I actually had a woman tell me that 5G will do that kind of stuff. And maybe it will. It's not in my universe.
I don't know that, so I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to believe that 5G is fucking with me because I can't prove that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe there's a positive side to 5G. Maybe if you have your attention set right, it can actually give you free energy and then you upgrade faster. Who knows?
There we go. So it's like to each their own. I
wanted to say something just now. I made this video last night. I titled it "We Are Truly Living in Biblical Times" is what I titled it, and I just felt like it was really good. I almost felt like I kind of wanted to be a professional actor when I was like younger. I always looked up to movie stars, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to be a movie star and get paid a bunch of money to just look cool on TV and stuff? And doing the podcasts and stuff has kind of made me feel that way. And I was like, damn, maybe I could be a movie star after all, you know?
Why not?
But anyway, I guess I brought that up because I don't know. I feel like I have a little bit of a gift to see deeper into things and maybe even pick up on spiritual energies and stuff. And I was talking about like demonic forces, but also angelic light worker forces in reality, and seeing the way things are going with the World Economic Forum and what the weird stuff they want to build in these smart cities and whatnot. I just started to get this feeling like this is like literally out of the Bible, where you have to choose what side of good and bad you want to be on, and what you want to do in life and where you're going and stuff. And don't limit yourself. You know, if you want to go to a free society with friends and happiness and animals and like maybe partners and stuff, there's a force in creation that probably wants to assist you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just like for me, I want my little private Idaho. You know, that's me, you know?
Well, it's working for Maria. Maria's got not a nice partner and she's feeling a lot better. Even, you know, she's looking good to me. So if Maria can do it and I can do it, you know, you might ask us questions about how. Because
I get asked questions all the time. Like, so what you were talking about just a few minutes ago about, that shamanistic person, that healer. Okay. I used to be a nutritional consultant once upon a time when I first started my practice. And so I would do these events at, like, say, a New Life Expo, a Whole Life Expo, some kind of alternative healthcare, complementary healthcare exposition or whatever. And so I would do these talks about the importance of not just being the best version of yourself, but by being in current reality and owning your attention, being awake. And this was before I knew about transurfing. So this was like pre 2005. Okay. I started my stuff in 1987. So, and I would do this stuff and I would be like one of the speakers in between nutritionists, dietitians, other health practitioners, blah, 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 doctors, MDs. I mean, well-credentialed people. And here I am, and it would be funny because after the event, I'd have people lined up at my desk, at my booth, wrapped around the corner. And these dietitians filled with these people. I just remember all these dietitians, these nutritional consultants were at least 100 pounds overweight, could barely fucking walk, and I'd be sitting here just being myself, being my loud self and enjoying life. And these people are like going, what do you do? What do you do? And I just went, so I'm looking at these other people and they're just kind of looking at me like, why does she have the line? And why isn't anybody talking over here? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I was one of these people, who would I go talk to? I would talk to me. Why would you talk to a dietitian who could barely walk onto the stage to give her talk? Because she's so obese, she can't even fucking move. And she's just kind of out of it. Her hair's falling out. I mean, it's weird. It's totally, totally weird. But people are mesmerized by credentials, quote unquote.
I mean, I have credentials. I have a PhD, if that helps. I don't ever say that, but I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just weird. It's just totally, totally, totally weird. So I just am like fascinated by the whole thing of, I mean, the people that I go to for my health concerns, they're all vibrant, no matter what age they are. I wouldn't trust someone who couldn't move across the room. I mean, you're going to give me advice on the food that I eat? Honey, you need to check yourself.
It's kind of like this witch doctor guy. He was older and kind of fat, and his son didn't look healthy either. They both look kind of pale, and they're trying to tell me that I'm like it sounded like they were like, you're the most unhealthy person we've ever seen. I can't believe you're taking this many supplements. You're not supposed to do that. And I was like, maybe you should be asking me what you should do for your health. Actually.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't take a lot of stuff. I take mostly herbs and tinctures. Some of the herbs and tinctures I make myself. I love it.
I don't take much. I do take the astaxanthin stuff to get more sun. That definitely helps me. The pine pollen's nice. Sometimes there will be some special herbs that can provide kind of spiritual insights, cannabis, for example, things like that.
Cool.
Those can for sure help. In my experience, but again, for another person, those things might actually cause them problems.
So exactly. One size does not fit all, which is why, I think part of the problem when it comes to health is that people are just not paying attention to their bodies. They're not paying attention to their thought quality. They're not paying attention to their emotional quality. They're distracting themselves. And of course, the way it is, when you're not listening, the body's going to start screaming at you.
Well,
you got to be trying to get your attention.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's a good sign, man. Like my heart is still a little sore. And one thing I do to help it, I roll on a back roller, and that kind of helps open it up.
Nice.
But like I said, whenever I notice that and it's brought to my conscious attention, I just think the word healing. And then sometimes I'll even try to visualize healing energy going there almost energetically, things like that,
Yeah.
But you gotta be 100% in alignment with the direction, like thoughts, emotions, actions. The more you waver, the more you waver from that, like if one day I'm just feeling bad, and I have a negative attitude, and I'm like, I'm never going to heal. I'm never going to heal. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I'm healing. I'm healing. The more you waver from that, the slow you're not going to get anywhere doing that, because
Yeah.
one
No,
day
you're
you're going
not.
in this direction. The next day you feel like
Yeah.
you're going in that direction. The next
Yeah.
day the TV's telling you you need to go in this direction. And so it can help sometimes to just ignore what other people are saying and be like, no, I'm going in the path of like healing. That's where I'm
Yeah.
going. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. The path of I'm I'm a believer in the path of least resistance. Why make drama for yourself? And I used to be a drama queen. So and not my drama, other people's drama. It's like, oh my God, can I just, whatever. So we're at like an hour and a half. I'm thinking let's like wrap it up, and we're going to have another conversation soon again. But so what are what are your thoughts as far as, like for the rest of the year, and community, what are you up to? And I want you to, send me your links so that
okay.
I can have all of your information
Mhm.
to share.
Okay. Yeah, so I just do whatever I feel like at all times, and I feel good is a mental choice. That's what I do. I feel good. I have an easy life. I don't do hard things. So whatever I feel like doing, that's what I do. As far as like future plans, I'm kind of waiting for my friend who to hopefully score a lot of cash, and then maybe we can start doing bigger things. I do like the idea of kind of moving out in the country, inviting people to come and build cool things, networking with friends. I always like new friends. I'm trying to do the great work. I've always wanted to be a part of that one great work network, for the record. So,
Mhm.
I'm trying to invite those people to at least be aware that I'm doing my podcast, and I'm really into what they're doing and stuff. So thank you for having me on, Maria.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know. I'm sorry it's taken a while. I've been very the last wow, I mean, up until now, it's been really kind of insane. Just the pace and the scheduling. And then I finally just, because I was teaching, I had 3 groups that I was teaching that were based in New Zealand and Australia, and that was taking up a lot of time just in terms of, when I can film and all that kind of stuff. And so we just finished like round 3, and I'm going to take a break from it for like the rest of the year, just so that I can get back to people that I want to interview, really get more, great work stories of our trials and tribulations, and just the challenges that we meet up with, and how we course correct. I think that's really important, because one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of people who claim this and that with the great work is that I don't know a lot of people actually doing the great work. And there's a lot of coming up content creators, but for me, it's not just about creating content. It's about being an exemplary fucking human being. And if you're going to be full of shit, and you're going to tell me you're a proponent of natural law, and you're not taking care of your kids, and you're slapping around your girlfriend, I'm sorry, you can fuck off, and I will call your ass out. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, no, is it about creating content? For some people, yeah, it is. That's part of your great work. Is it everything? No. What are you putting in your body? How are you treating yourself? How are you treating your kids? Are you showing up? How are you treating your partner? Are you a liar? Are you a cheater? Are you stealing other people's content? Are you claiming this and that, and you're just posing? I mean, so I've been kind of, me. I can be an asshole, and I can be a provocateur. But I get to be. It's part of my thing. I've always, just kind of like poke the hornet's nest, like, what the fuck is really under there? What is this about? So, and I think one of the things that I resonate with you is that, you're a humble fucking person. You show up, you do the work, you fuck up, and you make amends. I mean, just the whole thing about I barely remember that. I kind of remember that, like, about the transurfing, but at the same time, you cop to it. You come back and you cop to it.
Well,
And
thanks.
and in my opinion, I think it was just like it was part of your law of assumption that you said it, and guess what? You know what? You had to live it down.
I was trying to really align my thoughts optimally, and I was like trying to be like, well, I could be a master of reality transurfing, or I could just not know what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
which one do I want?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like,
And,
well,
and
I'm
how
just
do you
going to be.
master things? You put it into practice.
Yeah. I mean, you might mastering any instrument, you're going to have little fuck ups. It's
Yep.
just, it's normal.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I plateau quite a lot. I'm like working on this just a bunch of piano pieces, stuff that I've written that I've discovered. I found, oh my God, I found a whole cache of tapes and DAT tapes from like the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, when I was really performing and doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm like going, holy shit, and I'm trying to, and I just, it's like muscle memory, the dexterity is coming back. And I'm like, fucking hell, it's so fun.
it's a lot of fun. I'm really glad to hear that. I would love to see more music from you or something,
Christopher is like really kind of, he's like going, come on, honey, let me film you. So it'll get there.
Don't worry about, your content sucking. Like, I play classical piano, and I'm not a child prodigy at classical piano, but I kind of am still a little bit of a beginner. I do read music. I like Bach and Mozart and stuff. I've been videotaping pretty lately every time I play piano, and there's a million fuck ups in there, and there's some other guy on YouTube who plays it super, super spectacular, but it doesn't, I don't know. I have a camera. It's fun for me to videotape it. It's fun. As long as it's fun for you to videotape it, then go ahead.
Totally fun. And
it's up to you.
I've been really into this jazz pianist named Brian Culbertson. I absolutely adore this man. So fucking cool. And every Friday night, he's got this live stream going on Friday night. It's Friday night, and it's so fun. So I've been like, just doing these fun, sweet, creative things, and really just kind of grooving on these artists. Christopher's been learning how to play the piano. In fact, when we first got together, he had just bought a piano, an electric piano, and oh my God, he's like so good. He's so good, and he's
good.
Jazz and doing all kinds of stuff. So
I'm trying to learn how to improv a little bit too on piano, kind of classical style, I would say. But anyway, Maria, I've always loved your content because it is very personal and real, and you have a very interesting perspective. I like the knowledge that you've taken in with the reality transurfing and whatnot. Very few people know about that and stuff. And I don't know. I just always like you as a person. So I'm glad that we're still friends.
Well, even though you. And of course we're still friends. Why wouldn't we be friends?
Well, even though we don't meet in person very frequently, we did meet at Free Your Mind, but it's cool to have these discussions and stuff. So I really appreciate you for that. So thank you for whenever I have these little meetings, it does make me feel better inside. So
good. You should feel good about yourself.
Thanks. And for the listener, check out my content because I feel like especially now, because I only do things I feel like doing.
Yeah.
So
he's super fun. Very reflective, very deep. Yeah. And
I'm on BitChute.
Videos are really good.
Yeah, I've been playing guitar on YouTube. I'll send you my link tree is what it's called. It's got all my links, and then you can put in the video. I'll give you a couple more links too. But Yeah, check out my guitar work. I've been healing a lot while playing guitar, and I feel like that kind of imbibes the music with almost a little bit of healing energy and
Awesome.
uplifting kind of cool energy. And I got a new guitar. It's an 8-string. I got a new amp. The amp is
Ooh.
like really, it's my, I finally sound good on guitar. So, it's on YouTube. So
Awesome. Awesome. All right, darling. Thank you so much. Thank you, Love Bugs, for being here and sharing this time with us. And until next time, here's to our love, truth, and beauty. Mwah! Oops. How do we do this? Oh.